let's pivot to the $740 billion Inflation Reduction Act. We saw the president sign it into law yesterday. It's set to be paid for by raising taxes on high-income earners making more than $400,000. That's what we continue to hear from this White House. The Congressional Budget Office, though, pushing back on this claim, saying Inflation Reduction Act would actually cost the middle class $20 billion in new taxes. Congressman, if we could just make this on a personal level, from people in your district here, are they anticipating higher taxes to cover this act? What are you anticipating based on what you've read into this bill?
My constituents, ma'am, that are, just regular American families trying to make it, in many cases, due to the current inflation and this administration's war on the oil and gas industry, which is huge in South Louisiana, the area of the country that I represent. American families, Louisiana families, are just trying to make it and struggling to do so. So a tax increase right now it could be a crippling blow. And there's no doubt that according to every study, the Senate Finance Committee, the nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation, every legitimate interpretation of this massive new tax and spend bill, which includes adding 87,000 enforcement agents to the IRS to do auditing, to perform auditing tasks upon the American taxpayer. Every study shows that Americans earning $75,000 and less, even as little as $25,000 a year, are going to see an increase in auditing. The Senate Finance Committee stated, and I quote, predominantly hit taxpayers who have very low adjusted gross income. Nothing in the proposal would change that fact that the tax enforcement effort within this bill is going to focus on low-income Americans. Yeah. That's where most of the money is. You can seize 100% of the income of all Americans earning over $400,000. You wouldn't put a dent in what the Democrats' agenda here is on this bill. So it's lies that they're presenting. They've managed to pass it. Some of us fought passionately against this bill. And yet they passed it by straight party line vote, and they signed it into law. So we're going to defund it next year when we have the majority and ultimately seek to repeal the law. Repeal is much more difficult, as you know, because the legislative process gets very complicated when you attempt to actually repeal an existing federal law. But we will defund these 87,000 IRS agents. I assure you of that.
And we'll be watching. Of course, the GOP's got to regain control of the House in November. Congressman Clay Higgins joining us with a preview of what we might expect if that happens. Congressman, thank you so much.